All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be checking out the blue cards from OP08. That's right. Yesterday I did the green cards. Before that I did the red cards. And before that I did the leader cards. I will link all of that down in the comment section below if you need to get caught up or if you want to know about, a specific color. So real quick, guys, let me give a quick layout for the video so we know where we're going with this. Spoilers. Right up front. There will be spoilers, of course, but we need to go over this stuff, guys, because it is legal in the East. These cards we're looking at, we are going to start seeing the cards and the decks pop up everywhere in like results and stuff. Especially, if you're someone like me who checks out OnePieceTopDecks.com, you're going to hear about them. You're going to hear about this stuff locally and all that stuff. So we got to stay on top of our game. We got to stay ahead of the game. Now, real quick with Marco. I'm not going to go over the leaders too much because I have an entire video going over the leaders in detail, what I think about them. And like I said, I will have that down in the comment section below. So as far as the layout goes, the bulk of this video will be going over, we're going to be doing a full review on the OP08 blue cards coming out. And then from there, we're actually going to be going over to a game on the sim. And then we'll check out the list that I'm running. It's just going to be a fun red-green Oden game that I have on the sim for y'all versus Perona. And we'll check out the deck list after that. And I'll give you my final thoughts from there. And I think, actually, before we go into that game on the sim, sorry, guys, I forgot, we're also going to be checking out a deck list running red-blue Marco that's already kind of been featured in the East. I think it got top 8 in like one of the first tournaments. So we're going to be looking at that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this. You know what you're getting into. And let's do this because we got a lot to talk about. I just want to get straight into this so I don't waste too much of y'all's time here. Okay, so red-blue Marco. I'm going to read what the leader does real quick because I will say this right up front. A lot of the blue cards have to do with Whitebeard Pirates. Okay, the red cards in this set had a lot to do with the Drum Island, or the Drum Island, I think, and Animal type cards for Chopper. The green cards had a lot to do with the Minx stuff for Carrot. And the blue stuff has a lot to do with Whitebeard Pirates. So I am going to read this so we at least have an idea of what to expect or how we might be able to combo this. Okay, so 5,000 power, 4 life, Whitebeard Pirates type leader, Dawn ×1, activate main, once per turn, draw 1 card, and place 1 card from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck. So with blue, that's a big factor in blue, right, is setting your life card, right? Or excuse me, setting the cards on the top or bottom of your deck. Then give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power for the turn. So it's like a perfect marriage of a red and blue effect, right? And it's really nice that you get both effects at once, and it only costs 1 Dawn to activate this, right? And this is Whitebeard Pirates. So think about your 10 Dawn turns right away. You're going to be able to play out your 9 cost Whitebeard while doing this effect. So very, very solid. Again, I have a whole entire breakdown of this leader in the leader video that I did, and I will post that down in the comment section below if you want to know my full thoughts there. This is just the alt art for it. Okay, next up is Atmos. So we have another Whitebeard Pirates here. 4 costs, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter. Very solid stat line. Let's see what it does. The effect is on play. You may reveal 2 cards with a type including Whitebeard Pirates from your hand. If your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand. Okay, so this is basically a Whitebeard Pirates only effect. But we do have 2 leaders in the game currently that are Whitebeard Pirates that have blue. That have a combination, some type of combination of blue in its colors. Number 1 is blue, yellow, ace, and number 2 is the one we just looked at, red, blue, Marco. So when this is released, it will have 2 leader options. Now, one thing I do want to mention real quick is I don't like that it has to deal with cost, like it's dealing with cost as opposed to power. I guess it is what it is. I guess they wanted to make it where it's not limited to just red combinations, but at the same time, yellow doesn't exactly deal with cost reduction. So it's like, why wouldn't they just at least give it the standard Whitebeard Pirates treatment of power, effects based on power? Like for example, with the 9 cost Edward.Newgate. And especially since we just saw this leader's effect where it's dealing with power. I wish it had said a cost, a power 4,000 or less, or even technically what it should have been, since they're doing 4 cost characters, I wish it was a 6,000 power character or less, because you're revealing 2 cards from your hand, and those 2 cards have to be Whitebeard Pirates, and you have to be running a Whitebeard Pirates leader. So that is a lot of information that you're giving them, and on top of that, you're also, how do I say it? You're also being forced into one direction with this kind of character. So I wish they had made it like at least a 5,000 power character or or less. So that way you can combo it with your leader to make it a 7,000 power character hit. I think that would have been much better. As is, I think this card is still fine. I would still give this a 7 out of 10. I think this card is excellent, but I just wish it had a little more. I wish it had a little bit more synergy with the leader and with the red cards effects, you know, for this kind of Whitebeard Pirates, you know, hybrid red-blue deck. But very solid. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Next up, we have Aphalandra. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 2K counter for Amazon Lily. Okay, activate main. You may return this character to the owner's hand, and if your leader has the Kuja Pirates type, place up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Okay, if your leader has the Kuja Pirates types, that's Boa, right? Place up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. The activate main's fine, you know, because you're playing this card out and you're returning it to your hand to bottom deck one of their characters, right? That's a cost 1 or less. So I guess it's good for, like, getting their little blockers, or, well, yeah, technically any kind of 1-cost blockers, but any kind of 1-cost searchers, just get those out of the way. Now it's back in your hand to use as a 2K counter, and it's potentially turning on your leader's effect. So it's not bad. I definitely don't think this is a bad card, and it's a nice 2K counter. It's just not, like, insane. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because I give all 2K counters a baseline 7 out of 10 because no matter what deck you're running, you can always play it as a 2K counter. Always, right? And that has a solid utility. One more thing I wanted to mention real quick about Atmos, guys. I think this is a cool effect, though. How, like, think about it. You're revealing 2 cards from your hand, you know, these 2 Whitebeard Pirate cards, and then they're having to push their card back to your hand. So it's like you're giving them information on 2 of your cards for the cost of them giving you information of one of theirs by bouncing this back to their hand. I do think that's pretty cool after thinking about it. Cool stuff. Cool design. Okay, next up we have Edward Weevil. So this is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, 7 Warlords of the Sea type character with the effect of Dawn ×1 when attacking. Return up to 1 character with a cost of 3 or less to the owner's hand. Okay, very cool stuff here. This is, you know, there are quite a few Edward Weevils in the game, and getting this one is nice, especially since they're all 4-cost and lower currently. That's a big deal for any kind of deck that's trying to run, you know, an Edward Weevil Buckin engine. Buckin is the 2-cost mom of Edward Weevil. She's the 2-cost card that can play out a 4-cost or lower Edward Weevil rested for free, right? You play her out for 2, and then you play out a 4-cost Edward Weevil for free. So this would be a good card with that. Excuse me. Another good option for Edward Weevil, because he already has a 4-cost 6K with no counter that draws a card. So that's just outstanding. And then he has one that can do a top 3, top of deck arrangement. And then he also has this one, or then we'll also have this one in OP08. And then there's also a 3-cost 5,000 power 1K counter vanilla Edward Weevil. So really good stuff there. I'll just give this a nice, like, I think the effect is pretty good. I'm going to give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I don't think it's crazy. In fact, I think this card is just better because you could just on play do this, you know, and you don't have to attack with it. You just get the effect right away. But either way, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 because I think it's pretty solid. Okay, next up, we got the big man himself. Let me make sure y'all can see this good. Okay, yep. We got Edward.Newgate. This is a 10-cost, 12,000 power, 4 Emperors, Whitebeard Pirates type card, character card. With the effect, okay, this is a big read here. Y'all bear with me. On play, if your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates, so this is locked to Whitebeard Pirates leaders, okay? So if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates and you have 2 or less life cards, select all of your opponent's characters on their field. Then, until the end of the turn, or excuse me, just not then, until the end of your opponent's next turn, none of the selected characters can attack unless your opponent trashes 2 cards from their hand whenever they attack. Okay, now one thing to understand about this effect is it targets all the characters that are on the field. So if you were to play out a rush character afterwards, you will be able to attack. You will be able to swing with that without having to lose cards from hand. But this is still an incredible effect. You're dropping a 10-cost 12K, the biggest body in the game, the hardest body in the game to get rid of. And then the effect is basically time warping you. It's saying, hey, you're not going to get to swing with anything unless you want to start giving me cards. And notice what it says. None of the selected characters can attack unless your opponent trashes 2 cards from their hand whenever they attack. So in other words, it's not like, okay, I'll attack and, oh, I have no cards left, so sorry, I can't discard any. It's like, no. You have to trash 2 cards in order to even be able to attack. So very, very strong effect. This is your whole turn, and they can still swing with their leader. So I'm going to give this card, I'm going to give it lower than probably most people. I don't know what most people are rating it, I'm going to be honest. But I'm going to give this card an 8.5 out of 10. I can't give it any higher than that because I actually just like the 9-cost 10k version better. it kind of works as a pseudo time warp because now every one of your opponents, like standard attacking characters like your 5ks and your 6ks, they can't attack anyway now because unless they invest Dawn, which slows them down in a way bigger way. Because here's all I'm thinking, like, okay, so they drop this card down, right? Okay, still a strong card. I still have to deal with it. In fact, I'm probably just going to, you know, probably just going to Red Rocket, Kingdom Comet, something along those lines, right? Ice Age plus something else to get rid of it. But then I just don't get to attack that turn with any of my characters. Only my my leader. So, and your leader didn't gain anything from this. Whereas, like, as soon as the 9-cost Whitebeard, the red 9-cost 10k Whitebeard drops, you're going plus 2,000 power for the turn on your leader, or like until you're to the start of your next turn. And then you've got this body down that if they don't deal with it, that's that, right? Whereas, technically speaking, you can actually ignore this card. Whereas the original Whitebeard, the original Newgate, you can attach to and start popping 3Ks left and right. And with the leader we were just looking at, now you're popping 5Ks. For a 3-Dawn investment with the 9-cost Whitebeard, you're just smashing through their board. They have to deal with it. Whereas this card, as long as I can play a blocker every turn, I could probably just ignore this card. You know what I mean? If I'm dropping like a Rebecca Sabo package every turn, or like a 5-cost Eustace Kid and a Trafalgar Law every turn, or something along those lines. You see what I'm saying? This card is, you know, the turn it comes into play is insane. It is very strong, and it does totally stop your opponent, but not entirely. Because if your opponent thinks they can swing for game still, okay, well, as long as I've got, you know, enough cards in my hand, I'm just going to start smashing through and just trashing cards from hand to go for game anyway, right? But I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad card. Again, please don't misunderstand me, but I'm going to put this at an 8.5 out of 10. Very solid, but I wish... I still like the red one better, especially the 9-cost red Newgate, because of how this new leader is. I feel like there's more synergy there. Okay. Sorry, we had to spend a little bit of time on this one because this is an SR. This is a very important, very special card. So here's the parallel alt art version of the card. Ooh, I like the regular art. I like this style. I like the texturing. I like a lot of what's going on in the background. It's like just waves crashing against the shore, and he's got, of course, he has his cape on like that. You know, the scars in this textured format of like painting or whatever that is, just look incredible. They look absolutely incredible. I love the scratchiness of like I guess that's kind of like supposed to represent water or rain coming down. Looks really good, or maybe even wind, like wind gust. Looks incredible. And then when you look at this one is very good as well. It's not like this one's bad, but this one over here, man, the way that they get him, you know, standing tall on the rocks, waves crashing against the back of it, just looks absolutely incredible to me. Whereas this one looks good, but it's a little bit confusing as to what's going on in the background. And I feel like they're trying to do the same thing with waves crashing. Like you see like the water coming out from like almost between his legs or something. And then in the background as well, you see I guess maybe that's like ground coming up from his Quake ability. Something like that. It looks really good though. Very, very solid. But I like this one better. That's just me. They both look great, but I really am a fan of that one. Okay, don't worry. We won't spend that much time on all of them, guys, but we had to talk about Newgate. Next up, we've got Kingdew. This is a 4-cost, 4,000 power, 2,000 counter, Whitebeard Pirates type character. And the effect is activate main once per turn. You may reveal 2 cards with a type including Whitebeard Pirates from your hand. You may reveal 2 cards, not return. Excuse me. I don't know what I just said there, guys. It's like I just blacked out or something. Activate main once per turn. You may reveal 2 cards with a type including Whitebeard Pirates from your hand. So again, you're revealing cards, just like the Atmos card we saw earlier. This character gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, I actually like this effect, especially on a 2K counter body. Or, excuse me, a 2K counter character. Like, if it's a 4-cost 4K with a 2K counter, that's completely fine. And this is Whitebeard searchable. We have another Whitebeard searchable 2K counter, guys. This is solid. And yeah, it's just a 4-cost 4K, but really, it's really a 4-cost 6K. You know, if you need it to be that. I'm a big fan of this, and it's a 2K counter. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Okay, next up is Thatch. 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, Whitebeard Pirates type. If this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect or KO'd, trash this character and draw 1 card instead. Excuse me. Okay, this is a card that cheats death or whatever. It's a card with evasion, and I do like this, but I have to say it's just a 4-cost 5,000 power card with a 1k counter, and it actually can be removed. It's not like Marco that says, okay, you can't KO me. I'm just going to keep coming back from the trash if I need to, right? And this card here says, yeah, you can be KO'd, but you just get to draw a card instead. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I'm just not a big fan of this card. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm just really not a big fan of this card. I think it's still a good card. I'm going to rate it pretty well. I think it's a 6.5 out of 10 because it's either a beater or you're going to have to give me my card back, right? Like when you go to remove this card, I'm going to draw a card from it, or I'm just going to keep beating in. So I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. But something about this, I just get a bad vibe from this effect. It's like, what if they just choose to ignore it, which can happen? Or, okay, say they do KO it. You get a card from it. There goes your whole turn. I guess at least you got a card for it. It's kind of like Kuzan, right? It's kind of like the 4-cost 5,000 power Kuzan from Navy that when it on plays, draws a card. In fact, I like that just strictly better, right? That card is a 4-cost 5k. On play, draw the card. Forget getting removed. Yeah, if it gets removed, it gets removed. But if you don't remove that card, it's just attacking in and just cost reducing everything in sight. So good stuff there, but it doesn't have a counter. This one does. There's push and pull all over the place. But I'm going to give this card I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Solid card. At the very least, it's going to be an attacker or it'll replace itself. Okay. We got Shakuyaku. Shakuyaku. I don't know if I'm saying that right, guys. Y'all bear with me. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter Amazon Lily card. So another Amazon Lily card. The effect is on your turn, once per turn, whenever a character is removed, when a character is removed from the field by your effect. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent places 1 card from their hand at the bottom of their deck, and then you rest this character. Now, notice where where that period is at the very end here. It says, then rest this character. So if you've already attacked with this character on the turn, for the turn, well, you don't have to worry about it. The effect happens, then you're going to rest this character. It just won't be able to rest because it already is rested. Okay, but this is not bad. So if you're playing this in a deck with Boa Hancock, let's just say you have 5 cards in hand and they have 5 cards in hand, right? Okay, well, you play this out, and then you use a removal on them. Now you're going to draw a card because you made them lose a character. And then this effect comes in, you'll rest the character, and then it says, let me see, when a character is removed from the field by your effect, if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent places 1 card from their hand at the bottom of their deck. So yeah, you're going to bottom deck one of the cards from their hand. So you'll go up a card with Boa's leader effect, and they'll go down a card from this Shakuyaku's effect. So pretty solid. I'm actually a big fan of this. I think it's a really good card, and it's a 5-cost 6k with a 1k counter. It's well statted. It's just 1,000 power under a vanilla card, and it has that effect. I'm going to give this like a 7.5 out of 10. I think this is a really nice card. Really good stuff. Okay, Jozu. We got a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 1,000 counter. Is that what we just saw? Oh, no, this is even better stats. Wow. Okay, so this is a Whitebeard Pirates type card with the on play of you may return one of your characters other than this character to the owner's hand, and then return up to 1 character with a cost of 6 or less to the owner's hand. There we go again with the cost. I understand that power reduction or power, how do I say this? I understand that blue doesn't really deal with power; it deals with cost. But I wish they'd make exceptions for cards like this that are built literally for a specific leader. Or not, they're not literally built for this. They can go in any blue Whitebeard Pirates type of deck, right? But, this was clearly all built in the same set. So they knew what they were doing. I wish they would have made some exceptions for something like this. Because instead, I'd rather it say, okay, a 6-cost character, that's an 8,000 power character, right? I wish they had let us go off of a 7,000 power character or less, and then we could buff it up to 9 with the leader's effect. But now, something like this, it's almost... If Sakazuki, if they ever figure out a way to use the new promo Sakazuki coming out after the OP05 one is banned, or is it OP04? No, the OP05 Sakazuki, that's getting banned very soon for us in the West. It's already banned in the East, and a promo version of the card is coming out in its place. And if they ever find a way to, make that deck work, I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying if it ever happens, a card like this just becomes insane, right? Because you just end up bouncing one of your guys back. Like, return one of your searchers, your little 1-cost or 2-cost searchers, and then you're just bouncing anything in the game with this effect. So I wish they would have built this around power, but it is what it is. I think this card is still outstanding. Do not misunderstand me. I'm giving this card right here a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5, maybe even an 8 out of 10. This card is very, very strong. Bouncing back a 6 or less, that's no joke. That is no joke, guys. And all you had to do was return something like a Searcher, right? So in the red-blue Ace, or excuse me, the red-blue Marco deck I was just talking about with the new leader coming out, you could bounce back your EZO and then just bounce back anything 6 cost or lower on your opponent's side of the field. And now you have a 6 cost 7K on the board. So, you know, it might be pretty decent. I like this card quite a bit. Okay, next up we have Sweet Pea. This is a 4 cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter Amazon Lily type card. This is just a vanilla, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I give all vanillas 5 out of 10s. Okay, because they're just very average. Next up we have Speed Jil. 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, Whitebeard Pirates type. Effect, on play, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck and place it at the top or bottom of your deck. If the revealed card's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, this character gains Rush during this turn. Okay, so this works out perfectly with the leader, the new Marco leader, right? You're going to put a card on top of your deck that you know is a Whitebeard Pirates type card, and then you slam this card down and it's going to come in for Rush. And then you could, from there, you can actually still put it on the top or bottom of your deck if you need to, which is really nice. This is a solid card. This is a 4 cost 5,000 power Rush with a 1K counter. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. Like, this is just a very solid card. Okay, next up is Namuel. Namuel is a 3 cost, 2,000 power, 1,000 counter, Fishman, Whitebeard Pirates type card. Okay. It has 2 effects. It is a blocker, and it has on play, draw 2 cards and place 2 cards from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, so there's a very clear theme going on here with the Whitebeard Pirate stuff. You're doing a lot of revealing your hand to show your opponent information to get a special effect, or bouncing cards back to your hand to get effects, or even arranging the top cards of your deck to get effects. So pretty cool stuff here. This is a nice cheap blocker. I actually like it quite a bit, and it's got the 1K counter on there. It's Whitebeard Pirates searchable. This is just an incredibly solid card. I'd put this somewhere between like a 6 and a 7.5, maybe even like a 7. Maybe this needs to be around a 6.5 or a 7, somewhere around there. Very solid card, though. Okay, next up is Buckin. This is a 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1,000 counter card. This isn't like the Buckin that can cheat out a Newgate, or excuse me, an Edward Weevil. This is the one that can. This is another one here. This is a former Rocks Pirates card, and it has the effect of, on your turn, on play, up to one of your Edward Weevil cards gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. Okay, so let's see. Right away, this makes me think of maybe messing around with Blue, Green, Zoro, and Sanji again, and just putting a Edward Weevil at, well, no, she's 1 cost. Darn it. Shoot. Okay, so not quite. I was going to say, like, think about buffing one of your 5,000 power Weevils with this, and then return this card back to your hand to play it out again next turn, but you have to bounce a 2 cost or higher character to get the Zoro and Sanji effect. But otherwise, this card is still fine. It's just a 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter. I'm not a huge fan of this card, to be honest. But it's not horrible either. I'm just going to go average with it. It's just a 5 out of 10. It's really probably a 4.5 out of 10, because I would just rather have a vanilla card here, a vanilla 1 cost 3K, unless I'm running a deck that's just exclusively Edward Weevils. Which I'm not saying those decks won't exist in the future. I'm just saying. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to give this card Buckin a 4.5 out of 10. Okay, so Portgas.D.Ace. Here we go. 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter, Whitebeard Pirates type. On play, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck and play up to 1 character card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates and a cost of 4 or less. Then place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck. Okay, so this, number 1, this is a 5 cost ace. So anything like Blue Yellow Ace, for example, this is a new target for it to potentially use in the future. Who knows? We'll have to see how that deck evolves in the future. But this is another target for it because it's a 5 cost ace. So that's already a big deal. That's already a good thing. But this effect. Okay, as far as this effect goes, it goes very well in the red-blue Marco leader. Like the new one we just saw from OP08 that we're going to be seeing a lot of soon, I think. Potentially. Who knows? Maybe they won't be able to figure it out. Maybe the deck's not as good as I thought it would be. But if red-blue Marco does work, remember, you're going to set the top card of your life. So right away, reveal 1 card from the not of your life, excuse me, guys, of your deck, of course, of your deck. reveal one card from the top of your deck and play up to one character card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates and a cost of 4 or less. So it has to be the card from the top of your deck. You see what's going on? So you'll attach 1 Dawn to your leader. Excuse me. You'll attach 1 Dawn to your leader, draw a card, right? That's what the leader's effect does. And then you'll put a 4-cost or lower Whitebeard Pirates type card back on top of your deck, and then you'll minus 2,000 power to a character for the turn. Then you'll play out this ace card, and you know what the card is, and it comes right into play. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. But yeah, this card has tempo to it. It's very strong. I'll give this a 7.5 out of 10. Putting down a 4-cost or lower character is not exactly the most insane thing in the world. Marco will have access to the 4-cost Marco, of course. Like, that is an option it will have. But I've seen this card be hyped up quite a bit. I'm not quite sold on it yet. In fact, I like the 5-cost, 6,000 power ace from OP07. The one that does, you know, it's an on-play. You draw 2 cards from the top. It's literally Namuel's effect. Like, this is literally the exact same effect as the 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter ace from OP07. It's a blocker, and it has on-play, draw 2, and then put 2 cards on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. I like that one a lot better than this one, but this is still very solid. And we'll see, as more and more support comes out for this kind of deck type, then this card gets stronger and stronger. But as is, I'm going to give this a nice 7 to 7.5 out of 10. Solid card. Okay, there's the alt art for it, the parallel. Yeah. A lot going on here. So this is a very busy picture. For me personally, there's a lot going on. Same in this one, though. So same idea in this one. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I believe this is at Marineford when he meets back up with Luffy. Yeah, okay, I see Luffy in the background of this picture. Sorry if I give any spoilers. I already warned for spoilers, right? I already warned everybody for spoilers. Oh, this is Luffy right here, right? Yeah, you see the straw hat right behind him. Very good. I didn't know... Okay, y'all hear me out. When I first saw this, I thought this was a mirror image or something. Like, I thought like he was like cloning himself, almost like Naruto shadow clone style. I was like, what is going on? Why is there another ace right behind him? But I see the hat now, and this is clearly Luffy back here. Very cool. And then in the next one, I see Luffy right here. Hopefully y'all can see that with the resolution. Right behind the L in sample. There's his straw hat, and there's his head. Really cool. Really cool piece here, but it is very busy for me. It's a little too busy for my liking, but I still like it overall. It's not my favorite. That's all. Okay, good stuff. Okay, we're at the event, so that means we're almost done. This one, this is a 1-cost, Thank You for Loving Me is the name of this event. It is a 1-cost Whitebeard Pirates type card. Here's, let me read the trigger first because it's easy. Draw 1 card. Okay, the effect is this. Main, if your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates or the name. Notice it's bracketed. That means a card named Monkey D. Luffy, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, let's see. I'm not like, how do I say this? I think this is a pretty good searcher here. It's just a 1-cost top 3 searcher for Whitebeard Pirates or Monkey D. Luffy. But it's weird that it's just a top 3 search. You know, because I feel like I've seen some in the past. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Yeah, there's definitely cards in the past that are 1-cost top 5 searchers. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think about these. You know, if I miss anything, guys, please help me out in the comment section below. I always say that, guys. Please don't hesitate to help me out if I miss something, or if you guys know something I have a question to, help me out in the comment section below. But I feel like there are 1-cost events that do top 5 searches, and this one is a main. If you're this is even locked to Whitebeard Pirates, and it's only a top 3 search. But yes, it can get Whitebeard Pirates or Monkey D. Luffy, but honestly, how crazy is that? I don't know. One thing I will say, though, about this is there might be a version of the deck that becomes very rush-centric, like very tempo and like aggro-esque, where maybe it's going to run Luffy's aces and it's just going to blitz your opponent down. We'll have to see. That could be very cool. This kind of event will turn that effect on and make it possible, for sure. So I will give this one. It's just a searcher. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. But I give it lower than I give a normal. Like, I think normally for searchers I give them around a 7 out of 10, and then higher if it's a better one. But this is not a body. This is just an event. So you're not establishing a body in the process. I'll give this one a 6.5 out of 10. Okay, next up is you can't take our king this early in the game. Excuse me. So this is a 3-cost Whitebeard Pirates type event with counter up to one of your leader or character cards. Gain plus 3,000 power during this battle. Then reveal one card from the top of your deck and play up to one character card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates and a cost of 3 or less. Then place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck. I'm going really low with this one, guys. It has no trigger. Right away, I'm already like under... if an event doesn't have a trigger, it has to be insane for me to give it like something above a 5. Well, I don't know. I guess it's not completely true. You guys know what I mean, though. Like, not having a trigger on an event feels absolutely horrible. And so, okay, it's like, okay, well, since there's no trigger and this costs 3, it must be insane, right? Not really. It's a counter up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. It's not for the turn, just for this battle. Then reveal one card from the top of your deck and play up to one character card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates and a cost of 3 or less. Not even a 4 or less, like the one card, like the ace we just saw. Then place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck. I don't know, guys. I'm not really feeling this one. I'm just being honest with y'all. I'm not really feeling this event. You guys try to explain it to me down in the comment section below, because just going off of the cards we already know, I guess it can get like a red Vista. It can get a Namuel, and that might be it. Or a top 5 searcher like Ezo. The red top 5, the 1-cost Ezo. That's about all that I can really think of off the top of my head that would be worth grabbing. Not a huge fan of this one, guys. Not a huge fan. I'm going to give this like a 4 out of 10. Maybe even, I'm actually going to give it a 3.5 out of 10. Because you're asking me to hold back on 3 Dawn for the turn to only get a plus 3,000 power counter. We already have 1-cost rad beams in the game, guys. Like a 3-cost 3K counter is a little bit obnoxious, like obnoxiously bad. So I'm going to go 3.5 out of 10 on this one, guys. And maybe, hey, if I missed something, y'all tell me down in the comment section below. Maybe I missed some insane combo interaction, but I don't think I did. Okay. Next up is Phoenix Brand. Gosh, I got to say one more thing about this card, guys. Why don't I just play for 3 the character I need to play? Because I have the ability to search for my top card with my leader's effect. So why wouldn't I just keep that if I want to play that out for 3? Like, I mean, I guess I get it. You can play it like almost with a tempo where you're kind of protecting it for the turn. They don't know what you're going to play. Is it an Annual? Is it a Vista? Because maybe you can cheat out a Vista, you know. Okay, all right, here we go. Hang on. I'll give like best case scenario, or I'll try to. No, I was going to say like if you combo this with Rayleigh, but Rayleigh costs 8. Man, I don't know. I can't think of like some really incredible scenario where this card would be really good. Like where you could, what I'm saying is where you could cheat out a Vista to counter one attack and KO another character for the other. But that's just KOing a 3,000 power character. I don't know. I'm sticking with 3.5 out of 10, guys. Sorry. Okay, next up is Phoenix Brand. This is a 4-cost former Whitebeard Pirates type event. The effect is main. You may reveal 2 cards with a type including Whitebeard Pirates from your hand, and then place up to 1 character with a cost of 6 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Okay, so again, we're revealing a card from our hand, and then we're bottom decking a cost 6 or less of our opponents. It costs 4. Honestly, I would almost just rather run the 4-cost 3,000 Worlds. Honestly, I mean, I know it's not Whitebeard's. Actually, is this Whitebeard Pirates searchable, guys? Hang on one second. I'm going to look up Ezo real quick. I have it up on the other side here. Right, Ezo. Okay, so Ezo. Okay, so Ezo says on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates. So I do believe. You guys help me out if I'm wrong on this. I'm gonna pull it over. I do believe this can search up. Hang on, let me make sure y'all can even read it. Okay, right. Good enough. So this is Ezo from OP08. This is the top 5 Whitebeard searcher. It says, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates other than Ezo and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So consider that with the quotations to brand new, for example. Notice how brand new is worded. It has the those special kinds of brackets. So this is a top 3 search and reveals up to 1 Navy type card. Whereas Ezo let me grab Ezo one more time. Ezo can get any card with Whitebeard Pirates in its type. So it will be able to grab the card we're trying to get here, you know, if you're trying to search for this. Okay, and again, someone correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. Okay, so either way, though, it's a 4 cost that can bottom deck a 6 or less if you can reveal 2 Whitebeard Pirates type cards from your hand. Not too bad, but you are giving them information. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of this, like, hey, I'll show you, like, I'll show you my hand so I can get an effect. You know, that could be pretty good. But this, again, this is barely better. It is technically better, but this is only barely better than a 4 cost bottom deck of 5 or less 3,000 Worlds. And if I just pay 6, I can red rock anything. Or if I pay 7, I can bottom deck 2 6 costs or lowers, you know, with Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger. I don't know. We'll have to see. As is, though, I'm just going to give this card a nice... I think this is just a solid card. I'm going to give it like a 5.5 out of 10. I think it's a little bit better than an average card. Okay, then we got Moby Dick. Okay, this is the 2-cost blue stage. That's right, Moby Dick's back, guys. It's a Whitebeard Pirates type, of course. And it has, on your turn, once per turn, when your character with a type including Whitebeard Pirates is removed from the field by an effect, draw 1 card. So when your character with a type including Whitebeard Pirates is removed from the field by an effect, draw 1 card. So it can be your effect or your opponent's effect, is the way it's worded there. But then you're going to place 1 card from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck. So you're not really drawing a card, you're kind of just cycling and, like, you know, choosing, you know, the best card or whatever, however you want to say that. Trigger play this card. I do like when stages can trigger play themselves. I'm a big fan of that. As is, though, I don't think this card's great. I don't think it's, like, I understand what they're going for. Like, clearly you're trying to combo this with a new card we saw, like, I think it was Jozu, that can bounce your card back to your hand to get rid of one of theirs, right? So that will turn this effect on, because you're removing one of your cards from the field. Right? Yeah, because when your character with a type, including Whitebeard Pirates, is removed from the field by an effect. Yeah, so even your own effect, you're going to be able to draw a card and then place 1 card from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck. And then you can even, like, replay out something like the Ezo to get further effects from it. I don't think it's horrible. I'm going to say that. It's not nearly as good as the original Moby Dick card, the red one, right? But I'm going to say that this is, like, a 6 out of 10. I think it's, like, it's I don't know, maybe this is like about what you'd expect for a stage. I'll just give this a 5 out of 10. I think it's just totally average. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Okay, now we got one of the special arts here. One of the special rarity cards, Gecko Moria. This is the 4-cost, 5,000 power one that can grab a Thriller Bark Pirates or 7 Warlords of the Sea type card that costs 4 or less from your trash. This looks awesome. I love the rose right here. The rose here, that traditional Japanese style clouds. What else? Kind of like a little, almost like a fleur-de-lis down here. Y'all see the little flower at the bottom left corner. Can y'all see that? Yeah, y'all can see it pretty good. And then this little, like, there's like a compass pattern right here above his head and one right under his shoe here. That looks very nice as well. Really cool. Very interesting. I'm a big fan of how these special art cards look, like the special art style cards. Really cool. Okay, and that's it. All right, so we're done with that. We're done with the part of the video where we do the full review of the blue cards or of whatever, you know, card we're on for that video. Now we got to check out a quick. Let me turn off the slide there. Okay, let me move this over here again, and we are pretty much there. We go. We're back in business. So this is the most recent. Let me show you guys this list right at the time of me recording this video. This is the current amount of cards, or excuse me, amount of deck results that have been registered through OnePieceTopDecks.com for OP08 in the East. This is the current list that we have. Go check out OnePieceTopDecks.com if you want to know anything about any of these decks in particular. But today, since we're on blue, we're going to be checking out Marco. Because a lot of the blue stuff, you know, from Marco is actually, you know, it was like built for that leader. Like Namuel, like the new Ace card, like Thatch, and like Kingdew. And here, by the way, real quick, before I go any further, this is the card I was talking about. Here it is. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter blocker. This is the Ace I was talking about earlier versus the one that cheats out cards. I like this one better, but this list is running both. It's running both of the Aces. This is the OP08 version. This is the OP07 version. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter blocker. Draw 2, then return 2 from your hand to the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So it's literally just the big version of Namuel. Which is not bad, right? It's not a bad thing. Now, one thing about this deck that I'm not totally in love with Let me read through the list and we'll talk about it. So, okay, so of course it's running the new Marco leader, and then it's running 2 Otamas, 2 Newgates, 4 Jozu, 3 Ace, 4 of the blocker Marco, 4 Izo, 2 of the 5 cost Pop a 3K Marco, 4 of the new Silver's Rayleigh card, 4 Sanji, 1 Pudding, only 1 Pudding, 4 Ace, 4 Kingdew, 4 Thatch, 4 Namuel, 4 Portgas.D.Ace. So a few things. I don't like that it's not running any events. It's not running even a single event. So at that point, I mean, it's almost like why even run this card at all? But I mean, they are only running 2 of them. So maybe they're, you know, coming to the same conclusion. Excuse me. But I honestly don't think, I think they should be running 4 of this Marco because it goes so well with the leader's effect. Okay, like, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, please read what these cards do real quick. Like, you know, like please just pause the stream and read like what this leader does if you don't already know, and then this card. So in other words, on your 6 Dawn turn, if you went second, and I actually think you want to go second with this deck. I'll talk about that in a minute. And I've already done an entire like video on red-blue Marco and what I think will be the best list to start out with until they figure it out, fine-tune it, and like play with it according to the meta and like tune it according to the meta. But I think you want to go second. And by the way, I will link that in the comment section below, the red-blue Marco video that I already have done. I think what you want to do is go second with this list. So that way, on turn 3, you go, okay, attach 1 Dawn to my leader, do whatever I need to from there accordingly, and then minus 2,000 power to their character, and then you pop a 5,000 power less character. Like, that just seems like a really high value turn to me. Because you drew a card that you needed, set 1 on top of your life you did, or put at the bottom, or not life, of your deck, or put at the bottom if you needed, and then you have this card on the board. And that, like, remember, guys, this is Marco. This is a 5-cost 6K that's just popping, you know, that pops a card when it enters, and then it's just beating for the rest of the game, unless they have bottom deck. Like, so in other words, unless it's Red Purple Law or Blue Boa Hancock, this card is going to stick. And that's a big deal right now, guys. Getting cards to stick to the board is a very big deal. And that's why I don't actually like Thatch. It doesn't stick. Like, yeah, okay, you get to draw a card when it gets KO'd, but it doesn't matter. You lost tempo, right? That's my issue with this card. Not to say it's a bad card. It's just if I'm trying to be, you know, I try to think of everything at least in a competitive sense, and in practice. But this card just doesn't seem good enough to me. That's just me personally. Okay, now it's running. I like the 4 blocker Marcos. Huge fan of this because you have tons of Whitebeard Pirate cards you can trash to save this card. I would actually run 4 Aces because, again, okay, let me say this real quick, guys. I think this deck has an incredible way to naturally curve out. So turn 1, Izo, right? Turn 2, Namuel, 3-cost card. Or Vista, by the way. That's another card that I'm kind of like messing with in my mind. I actually think Vista would be very strong here. The old 3-cost, let me show you guys. For those who don't remember, for any of the new players, here's the card I'm talking about. Give me just a second to bring it up. Here it is. This card right here, guys. On play, KO a 3,000 power character or less. Like, this is a Whitebeard Pirates type card, 3 cost, 3,000 power, 1K counter. Like, that just seems so good with this leader, because now it's a 4 cost, like, with the leader's effect, right? If you're using the leader's effect properly, now this ends up becoming like a 4 Dawn turn where you're popping a 5,000 power character or less. It just seems so good if you need to. Or you could just play it right on turn 2 when they just played their Searcher or one of their little blockers, and boom, that card's gone, and now you have tempo. And then you still get to swing for 5 with your leader if you need to. But anyway, so you got turn 1, Izo, into turn 2, either Namuel or Vista, into turn 3, Marco, into turn 4, Ace. That already is good, but it actually gets even better. Because now we also have turn 5, wait, did I just say, yeah, turn 5 going into Sanji or, what's his name, Edward.Newgate. And this guy's only running 2 of the Edward.Newgates. Honestly, I feel like he should be running 4 of the Newgates and only 2 of the Sanjis. Right? Actually, I'm going to tell you what I really think. It should be 4 Newgates, 3 Sanjis, 3 Rayleighs. I love this card, right? You know, this is my favorite character and everything, but I still think this is perfect as a 3 of. I don't think this is a 4 of, you know, like deck-defining card, right? When you have like 4 of cards in the deck, like think of Gecko Moria. That is a deck-defining card no matter what version of black you're playing. Well, this isn't really that. Yeah, this is a good card with a solid removal, but I don't think this warrants a 4 of in the deck. I don't know. You guys tell me what y'all think. I'm not saying this is a bad card, because with the leader's effect, I mean, again, maybe there is a reason to run 4 of these, because with the leader's effect, you're popping like anything. You know what I mean? With the leader's effect, you're popping an 8,000 power character or less. Very good stuff there. 1 Pudding, I wish he could get to 2, because if you only have one, seeing it when you need it is very unlikely. It can happen, but it's unlikely. Whereas having two, like, literally doubles the chances of you seeing it in the game, right? Statistically speaking. This is just a good 2K counter. I 100% agree with this card. I 100% agree with Otama. In fact, I think it'd be nice to have 4 Otamas. I don't think it'd be that bad. Like, maybe, what if they went 4 Otama, 3 Jozu, and 3 Kingdew? I get it. Otama's not searchable by Ezo, but who cares? Having the ability to drop someone's power by 2,000 like this. Now, if you combo, like, think of it like this. Okay, we're looking at a 10 Dawn turn. Marco effect, minus 2,000 power to your character. Otama, minus 2,000 power to your character. Rayleigh, you can pop a 10,000 power character or less. That can pop almost anything in the game outside of the 10 cost 12Ks. You know what I mean? That's about it. Really good stuff there. Now, Sanji, make sure you understand why this card is in the deck. For those who do not know yet, this card... This is a 9-cost, 9,000 power character that has on play, reveal the top 1 card of your deck, and then you may put into play up to 1 revealed character with cost 9 or less other than Sanji. Okay, then place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck. Okay, so again, you're revealing the top card of your deck, and then you're allowed to play it if it costs 9 or less. Okay, so that means you can play out this card with Sanji. And here's the best part about it. You know what your top your top card is going to be in your deck. You're going to set it on a 10 Dawn turn. What you're going to do is you're going to attach 1 Dawn to your leader. You're going to draw a card and then set your top card of your deck. And then with the remaining 9 Dawn, and by the way, you're going to minus 2,000 power to a character. But then with the remaining 9 Dawn, you're going to play this out and cheat that character into play. So you're going to be able to pop cards with Rayleigh with that. You can cheat Ace into play, so you get a 9 cost and a 7 cost into play, and this one can swing. Or you're playing out a Newgate, and your leader's going up to 7,000 on your opponent's turn. It just has so much potential. This is a big, big piece to the puzzle if you're trying to figure out Marco, at least in my opinion. Now, one card that seems like, oh, well, this is like the miniature version of that. It is the miniature version of that, but I feel like it is so less valuable. Like, I feel like the value on this card is very low. Because, number one, what card are you trying to play from the top of your deck? It has to be a 4-cost card, so maybe you can cheat Thatch into play, maybe you can cheat in the Marco, and you can see that's what he's doing. That's why he has 4 Kingdew, 4 Thatch, 4 Marco, and 4 Jozu. Well, the 2K counters, obviously, he's running. But you are allowed to cheat those into play with this card's effect. But has anyone played in OP07 listening to this, and soon into OP08? Wiping 2 characters off the board nowadays is almost trivial, right? You just do it. You just wipe them. But I don't know. I'm not saying this is a bad card. I just feel like this is not the direction that you need to be going with Marco. I think the direction needs to be just literally try to curve out and get as much tempo and momentum along the way as you can. And then from there, that's when you get down the big boys like, Sanji into Newgate or Ace, Rayleigh, and all that. And who knows, maybe this is just a good card that you can drop down along the way. Because, again, I'm not saying it's a bad card. Okay. That's it for that, guys. I spent a little more time on that, a little longer than I thought I would. But let me go ahead and hop into a game on the sim now. We'll check out this game on the sim. I got a red-green Oden game for you guys today. Let me make sure the volume is off. And let me put the speed on 2x. And then let me move my face. There we go. And now, let me go up a little bit more. Sorry, guys. There we go. And let's go ahead and get started on this. So, red-green Oden. Red-green Oden is, this deck is quickly becoming one of my favorite decks to play on the sim, just for fun. And I think it's actually kind of competitive. And hear me out while we're watching me go through the search here. Momonosuke search, I grab, why is it doing this? There we go. So, Momonosuke, I search and get the, you could be my samurai to draw 2 cards whenever I need to use that. He swings into that, I let him have it. And now it's his turn. He's probably going to swing 5 here, maybe play out like a Borsalino or something. We'll see. Swing 5. I can just trash any card from my hand to get out of this, but I'm going to take it. And let's see what he plays out. Plays out a Hiyori and doesn't actually play anything from that. Well, I'm going to swing for 7 here with my leader because of that new Ezo. Yep, swinging. The right play there is to swing into the Rosinante. Don't let him have cards on the board. You're not trying to rush your opponent down. Just build up a board, right? He plays out another Rosinante. He uses You Can Be My Samurai to draw 2 cards, resting his guys, thinking like, okay, I'll keep him busy attacking into my board. It's like, yes and no, right? Because I'm developing... Here's the thing about Oden. those 5-cost 7Ks are massive, and they're a big part of the leader. Like, you have to have a 5-cost Wano card to get the plus 1,000 power for the turn on your leader, so you're a 6K leader. Okay, but like I said, these cards are huge, guys. Now, watch this. I have 7 Dawn here. I'm going to pause. Let's see. What do you guys think I'm going to play here? Okay, I've got, sorry if you can barely see it, but I've got a the 5-cost 2K counter Yamato, 2 Denjiros, another Izo, an Otama, an Okiku, Ryuma, You Could Be My Samurai, and the 8-cost Oden. What is your play here? Now, I can't play Oden, by the way. I only have 7 Dawn. But what is your play here? Like, take a second to think for a minute. Okay? And now I'm going to play. Because I don't know if many people would choose this play, and I don't know if it's the best play. But, guys, I'm playing out the 4-cost and the 3-cost every time. Because I'm going to smack in. I don't care about going to 6,000 power this turn. Because my opponent has nothing on the board. Right? So I'm going to pop this card here. He's going to get to choose to, you know, save it with the Rosinante, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna smash in like this, smash in like that. I could have done that. I did it a little bit out of sequencing, but now I play out Okiku, and guess what? The game's over. Like, the game's actually over here. Because for those who don't know, Okiku is a 3-cost 5K, right? It doesn't have a counter, but in this deck it does. It's a 3-cost 5K that has Dawn ×1. When attacking once per turn, you may rest up to one of your opponent's 5-cost or lower characters. There it is. Pause it if you need to read it. He swings 8 into that. I'm like, oh, 5 Dawn left? Oh, you must be trying to do this little thing called, hang on, so much just happened there. He's trying to Sabo here, right? In my mind, I'm like, this dude has to have X-Drake, or he has to have Ryuma here, because Sabo's game over. Okay, let me go back. So he swings in for 8 into 5. Well, remember what this 5-cost Izo does over here on the left. I believe I can trash a Whitebeard Pirates type card or a Land of Wano card to give a character or leader minus 2,000 power for the turn. Okay, so if you're playing at someone who has a Zoro, like the 9-cost Zoro, if you have 1 or 2 of these down, you can actually just totally neuter his attack. Okay, so right here he swings in. Let me hit play. So I go ahead and trash a Denjiro to give him minus 2,000 power with my Izo's effect, and then I go plus 2,000 with my Otama. And watch what he does here. Plays out Sabo, and I think he just concedes. Yep, because, now here's the thing. He shouldn't have left when he did, because I wasn't going for lethal next turn. This guy has like 12, like what does he have, like 10 cards in hand? I'm not actually going for lethal next turn. But here's the issue. It doesn't matter if I'm going for lethal or not, because he's going to be at such a massive detriment. Because here's how this turn's going to go. I'm attaching 2. So remember, I was on 7 Dawn that last turn. I'll be on 9 Dawn this turn. I'm attaching 2 to Okiku, swinging for 7 at face, and resting his Sabo. Now, if he takes that, I might go for game. Right? If he takes that, I might go, oh, okay, well, then go 7, 9, 11. You know what I mean? Or whatever the numbers ended up being. But I'd have gone all in at that point. But if he blocks out of that, or if he 2K counter and 1K counters out of that like he should, which he probably would do, just give my opponent the benefit of the doubt. If he does counter out of that, okay, no problem. Now I'm going 8 into your Sabo and 8 more into your Sabo, right? And now that card's going to be gone, and I'm going to put down another Izo, and then I'm just going to start going, you know, I'll go 7 at face with my leader. I have a 6K leader, and what are you going to KO on the board, right? Like he doesn't. I don't know how to say it, guys. I understand he might have got bricked. I understand people are going to be like, his hand was bricked. It's like, yeah, but I've had to play games with my hands when my hand's bricked as well. But I do think he left a little prematurely, but I also get why he left. He was in a very crappy situation. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this deck list, guys, and then we'll finish off. Like I said, Red-Green Oden is a lot of fun, guys. I don't know if y'all have messed with this, and I only recommend messing with this like in a local scene. There it is. So I was like, where am I? So this is the leader. Let me read what the leader does real quick, and I'll just run through the list. According to the rules, your character cards with the type Land of Wano without a counter have a plus 1,000 counter. So in other words, think about it. This Izo is a 5-cost 7K, 1K counter with an additional effect. This is a vanilla plus card. Like, it is purely vanilla in this deck. It's a 1K counter, it's a 5-cost 7K, and it has the ability to attach 1 Dawn to your leader. That would have probably already been worth playing alone. But then, look at this, guys. When your opponent attacks once per turn, trash 1 card from your hand. Okay, here's the effect. You can trash any card from your hand. But then if your leader has the Land of Wano or Whitebeard Pirates type, give up to one of your opponent's leader or characters minus 2,000 power during this, for this turn. So if they have like a 9-cost character, or excuse me, the 9-cost 9K Zoro, I just want to bring that up for a second. Excuse me. All right, this card right here. Excuse me, guys. Think of it like this: if you have one of these on the board, when your opponent's Zoro goes to attack for the first time, you're actually going to counter out. You're going to trash any card in your hand. Any of these cards in your hand, you're going to trash. Even a card like Denjiro that has no counter, or Okiku, and you're going to go minus 2,000 power for the turn on this card right here. So now he's only swinging for 7s, and then you'll finish out with a 1K counter and say, okay, your turn. And think about it. Now, you can only do it once per turn, but if you have multiple Izos out, they can both do it. So if you have multiple Izos out, you're only countering out of a single one of those 9K attacks for the Zoro, and then the rest are going to be 5K attacks. Like, that's just so insane how powerful that is potentially. Okay, so the leader here, let me finish out the last part. If you have a cost 5 or greater Land of Wano character in play, this leader gets plus 1,000 power until the start of your next turn. That's a Dawn times 1 when attacking. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Dawn times 1 when attacking, if you have a 5 or higher, a 5 cost or greater Land of Wano character, you're going to be a 6,000 power leader. So that means you're swinging for 7, right? Because you already have 1 Dawn attached. So look at the 5 cost options we have, by the way. Izo. Remember, this is a 5 cost 7K with a 1K counter because of our leader. Denjiro is a 5 cost 7K with a 1K counter because of our leader. And this effect is very nice. Make sure you read this if you don't know what this does, guys. This is from all the way back in OP01. 5 cost, 7,000 power, Dawn times 1 when attacking. If your leader is Kazuki Oden, well, guess what? It is, right? Set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. Absolutely solid, guys, because that goes with this other card. Make sure you read this one. This is an 8 cost, 8,000 power card that has activate main once per turn, pay 3, set this character as active. And remember, guys, this is an 8 cost, 8,000 power 1K counter in this deck. And then it has an on KO effect to grab a Land of Wano type character that costs 3 from your deck, not from your hand, from your deck, and then shuffle your deck. Like, you'll play it. So I only have 2 targets for that currently, and it's Izo, which can rest one of their characters. Remember, that on play can happen on your turn or your opponent's. So rest up to one of your opponent's characters that costs 4 or less, or Okiku, which, you know, on the crackback on the next turn, you're going to be able to tap down one of their blockers and get around them that way. So for the 5 cost characters that can turn this leader's effect on, I've got Izos, Yamatos, Denjiros, and Yamasan. Yamasan can go out for something like, I've mentioned this before, maybe I'll post down in the comment section below the Oden video that I did, but you can run the Yamato. I just don't think it's that great, guys. This one, where is the Yamato? Oh, it's right here. I'm sorry. It's like right in front of me this whole time. You can run this Yamato here. It's true. And by the way, there's also another thing about 5 cost Yamato, Land of Wano characters in this deck. Hiyori. Hiyori is a card that can cheat out these 5 cost characters for 4 and draw you a card. So, I mean, like, the 5 cost slot in this deck is very, very important. Now, I still run Ryuma because it can pop a 4 or less that's already rested on play and on KO, and it's just a nice card to have. And in this deck, don't forget, guys, this is a 4 cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter card. I'm sorry, I know that's getting old to hear, but it's just that good. You know, that's how strong this effect is. And then we can draw 2. You know, we can draw 2 with this to keep our hand full. But yeah, like I was saying, this card and this card, both, you know, pause this and read it if you need to. These are both decent options to have in the deck, but I just don't think they're as good as what I have up here. Like, do you want a card that's a 5 cost 5K that Law is going to be able to remove very easily? Or do you want a card that's a 5 cost 7K that will be way harder for your opponent to remove? And they're not going to want to remove this, by the way, because it's a vanilla card. They're going to be saving the removal for something like a Ryuma, something like an Izo, something like a Denjiro. You know, they don't want to remove this card for, you know, think about what Law has to do to get rid of this card. They're going to have to use 2 of the 1 cost minus 3,000 power cards just to get rid of this. Unless they're running Fire Fist. Fire Fist can hit it in 1 shot, which is true, which is very nice. And we have seen that card pop up lately in the games. So yeah, that's about it, guys. I'll just run through the list. Like I said, I didn't actually run through it. I'll tell you the list. 4 Izos, 4 Yamato, 4 Otama, 4 Hiyori, 4 Yamasan, 4 Izo, the 2K counter, 4 Okiku, 4 Momonosuke, 4 Denjiro, only 2 Odins, 4 Ryumas, 4 Otama, the new 2K counter card coming out in OP07, and 4 You Can Be My Samurai. I just think this is a solid list, guys. I just think this list is very clean. And, man, it's kind of fun. And it has a pretty decent matchup in the red-purple Law, guys. Like, I'm not going to lie. It has a decent matchup because you have a 6,000 power leader. Okay, and you have, like, you actually don't have bricks in hand. There are no bricks in your hand, unless you want to consider this like a brick. But you don't want this. You don't want this in your hand. You're going to use this. You know what I mean? Because you have to trash a character, right? According to the rules, yeah, your character cards get the plus 1,000. So yeah, you can't use this with the leader's effect, even though it's Land of Wano, because this is not a character. But every single card in your hand can be trashed as a 2K counter, and there are ways to upgrade this deck. This is almost a budget. This is almost a budget list, guys, because Otama, Izo, and Okiku, I think, are the only cards that are like around $5 in this deck. I think Momo might be as well. So I think this deck is probably just under $100 for this list. But you can improve the list by going, what's his name? Newgate. Like, I think this is just a natural fit in the deck. Like, I think you can probably drop down maybe some of these Yamasans and go up maybe 2 of these. Maybe go down 2 Yamasans, go up 2 Newgates. Or if you don't like this card, which I understand, I think a lot of people don't like this card, you know, in general. Well, I don't know. I don't know if people don't like it or if it's just not practical, but it doesn't show up a whole lot. But maybe you just replace this card with Newgate. Another card that's just a good, solid card to add into a deck that's a 6K leader. You have this card called Radical Beam. Yeah, pretty good, guys. Like, this is another option we have, right? In fact, let me just look. There's probably a few events that we could add. Let me let these come up real quick. There we go. There's probably a few events that we can add to make the deck a little bit stronger. Maybe something like a spider web. I don't know. Maybe not that, because you don't want to leave. You almost don't want to leave any Dawn active at the end of the turn. So unless it's just like 1 Dawn, like in the case of Radical Beam. So I would just run this. But yeah, guys, I mean, I really don't have too much more to say, guys. I'm just rambling at this point. So yeah, if you got any comments, questions, suggestions, please leave them down in the comment section below. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about the new blue cards coming out in OP08. I think Whitebeard got some pretty cool, or Whitebeard Pirates type got some pretty cool stuff to work with, and I think Red Blue Marco is going to be decent, even though he hasn't had any crazy, first week tournament results. I do think he'll be pretty decent when they figure out whatever the meta is going to be, and then build the deck accordingly. So we'll have to see what happens. And as usual, guys, let me go back up here to my patrons. Thank you to anyone and everyone who supports my channel or who supports the channel. I really appreciate it. Even if you're just liking, viewing, subscribing, commenting, sharing, that's all you have to do. You know what I'm saying? That's all you have to do, and you're helping the channel. But a big shout out to these guys over here who help, and they take it up. They go above and beyond to help me out in the ways they do. So I really appreciate you guys. And please do not forget to like and subscribe if you have not already. I hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, guys, peace.